Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 10. So Module 10 is the first rough draft for your research essay. We'll be working on this for several modules, so you just finished an outline. Once you kind of view, I try to give feedback on outlines pretty quickly in the week, but if you want some feedback just a little bit earlier, you're welcome to email me. And then now what you're going to do is start turning that outline into a draft. So this first rough draft is going to be fairly short. It might just be a couple of pages of your essay. And the idea with this assignment is that you get started on your essay and that you submit those pages to me so that I can take a look at them. And then the next module is where you're going to expand on it in order to submit and get peer feedback. And then the last module the module after that will be the one where you actually expand it all the way to a final draft version and then submit that for a grade. So if you're following along with what's going on in the class, then you shouldn't actually have to write too much at one time. So we're just doing a couple of pages and then a couple more pages, so we have it expanded all the way. There are two strategies here. Some students will just start at the beginning, introduction, and then write the first couple of pages and then submit it. And then some students do kind of a condensed version. So basically they take their entire essay and just write 3 pages out of it or a couple of pages out of it and submit that, and then they expand internally to get to that 7 pages. So it's up to you which version you decide to do, but this whole module is to help you get a rough draft going and submit it for a grade. So couple of things in here. I do have a readings and resources page. The reading is a unit out of the textbook. It doesn't have page numbers, so I couldn't list page numbers, but I do have it linked like immediately after this, so you can just click on the link if you would prefer. And then I also have 2 videos which I feel are really important. You technically don't have to watch them, but this is just the kind of stuff that I'm expecting. This is the level of writing that I'm expecting. And so it discusses things like how to integrate your sources, how to take the information from all of these places that you've been looking at and put it into your essay in a way that makes sense. And combining different ideas from different sources, which is the expectation. This is called synthesis, and it is probably the hardest part about using sources and doing research just in general, because you have different ideas from different places, different people, different time periods, and you're trying to combine them together in a way that makes sense and also fits with your ideas because you're in control of your essay. So this video will kind of help you see that the different ways that you can use that synthesis, because this is what's expected of you. And as you're drafting, you want to be using sources. So Unit 6, just to show you, this is same kind of information. A lot of this is kind of review, if you will, from what we've looked at earlier, and it's like a unit. It's just sort of condensed, focused. How do you put sources in, basically? How do you combine sources with your ideas? And it gives some good examples of, if you have a general knowledge fact versus like actually putting in some research and making it more specific. If you want to make a claim, how do you support a claim, that kind of thing. Because I see a lot of that in this type of essay where students just want to make a broad claim, kind of a general this is what happens when we do this kind of thing. But if you don't have any evidence to back that up, then it's not effective. And it's not something that works in an academic level essay. Some of you are not doing an argument in your essay, and that's perfectly fine. The directions for the essay, the criteria for the essay do not require an argument, so you do not need to have one. However, all of this information in this unit applies to expository writing as well as argument. So you've got lots of different things that you can look at. There's other stuff in this unit, like using research from reputable sources, and then a little bit more about research in general, making sure that you're thoroughly and accurately citing your sources. And then it gives you like an overview of citing research, which should be review for you. Sometimes it just helps to see it again. And so we've got lots of examples in this unit for you to look at. So that's the reading. I would highly recommend going through that before you start working on your paragraphs, but that's kind of you take your time to do your thing kind of thing. So you have to submit at least 5 pages of your research paper to the rough draft assignment. I think I said 3 earlier. 5 pages to this assignment. They do not need to be continuous pages. You can skip sections if you want to. A lot of times the introduction is difficult to write when you haven't written the whole essay. So if you want to start with your first main point, that's fine. Just put, type in there introduction paragraph, to follow, or so, or like introduction not written yet, so that I know that that there's no introduction paragraph. It's helpful if you have a working thesis. Your working thesis can be the same as the one in your outline. Obviously, you want to make changes if there were any issues. But right now we're still working on a thesis that is just working. Like it's just in there to give us a focus for right now. Body paragraphs, expanding on it. Any sections that you plan on completing or developing more later, you definitely can put in. A lot of students will do this like in a different color or highlight it, like finishing this section later or whatever, because they prefer to write something else, like something else is more interesting to them, so they want to skip ahead, and that's fine. Like I said earlier, sometimes students will literally just write their entire paper, but in 5 pages with the plan to expand using like more paraphrases and quotes and that kind of thing later, and that's fine too. So you want to try to get as much as possible that 5 pages and get those sources in there. It's really important that you start using sources now. Do not write 5 pages of your research essay with no sources. It is called a research essay. You have to use research. It has to be prominent in this essay. So do not start writing your rough draft with no sources. The sources have to be in there. Really, really important. Otherwise, you're going to end up spending so much more time on the back end doing work that you should have done to begin with. So that is the assignment in this module. You should be spending the whole week working on this rough draft, and give me a good draft. That way the feedback that I give you will actually be helpful, and not something that you're planning on changing anyway, and that's not helpful feedback for you. And then of course you'll be prepared for the next unit where you might add a little bit more and then actually submit it for your peers and for the online writing lab to look at. So if you have any questions, send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.